The NFL doesn't want you to know about its biggest scandals. That's right, the league is plagued with some dark secrets involving these players, starting with a recent allegation that's been making the rounds on social media. I'm talking about Matt Araiza, a rookie punter for the Buffalo Bills. Araiza's been dealing with significant allegations since the NFL summer of 2022. A prospective civil case against him says that he and two other former San Diego State players assaulted a minor. Apparently, this happened during his time playing college football in 2021. The former punter for the San Diego State Aztecs was formally sued in a carnal abuse case against a 17-year-old girl at a Halloween party. The woman explained her side of the story in an interview she gave to CBS without revealing her identity or showing her face. The alleged incident took place in October 2021. There are questions as to why it's taken this long for this information to surface. She legally sued Araiza as well as two of his friends who were with him. Now, he denies the accusation and says the information isn't true, but he was excused from the Bills' most recent preseason game while the team waits for more details.
I don't know if that's what he said, but he's on me a little bit about, going too heavy on days we lift or stuff like that. Yeah.
You were known in college as a guy who could bang it 100 yards. What have they told you about that?
The next player was actually banned from Uber over this. Yep, I'm referring to Jameis Winston, who was accused of assault by an Uber driver while he was still playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The incident was never reported to the police, but she did formally lodge a complaint with Uber. This led to Winston's future use of all Uber services being banned. Winston was punished for his part by receiving a 3-game suspension from the NFL following an inquiry by the league. He contested the charges and said the Uber driver must have misunderstood the circumstances of the encounter, but he also took the sentence without protest and formally apologized to the driver. The Saints quarterback has been accused of assault by two different women. Yep, years before the Saints signed Winston to their roster in 2020, he was openly accused of assault in 2 different occasions. Since then, there's even been an effort to depict Winston as having matured. Erica Kinsman, the second woman, claimed that Winston assaulted her in 2012 while they were both Florida State University students. She called the police to report the alleged incident, but neither the university nor the prosecution ever brought charges against Winston. He's obviously disputed the allegations.
He just told us to be prepared. He said pressure is for the unprepared. So you let me know, man, we were prepared. I told the guys, I related to them, I said, hey, pressure's for the unprepared. No matter where we've been in Dallas, no matter about the hurricane relief fund.
Sadly, the next player has also been making headlines for all the wrong reasons lately. Yep, I'm talking about Deshaun Watson. The NFL wants you to concentrate on Deshaun Watson's on-field activities only. Might have something to do with the fact that the Browns recently offered him $230 million. That's guaranteed money in exchange for many future picks. And yes, all of this is going on despite the fact that he's the subject of lawsuits brought by not 1, not 2, but 22 women who allege that he committed crimes involving harassment and assault. In fact, one of the major news stories of the 2022 offseason has been Deshaun Watson. During his time with the Houston Texans, numerous massage therapists have accused him of assault, and despite the fact that there wasn't enough evidence to support a criminal prosecution against Watson, he was still the target of 24 separate civil claims. Oh, and he was never formally found guilty in a court of law of any of the claims, despite the fact that the majority of the cases were resolved out of court. But the allegations as a whole constituted a significant violation. In connection with these allegations of misconduct, Watson won't be prosecuted, but there's been a lot of discussion on the timing of his deal considering these off-field events. The NFL appealed his initial 6-game suspension. On top of that, the two parties ultimately agreed on an 11-game suspension to begin the 2022 NFL season. A slap on the wrist? Barely. Watson's attorney showed up in an online court hearing 2 days after his team lost 28-14 to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the season finale. Why? Well, to try to block an attempt to compel Watson to take a deposition in a civil action against him. It wasn't nearly effective, though. Judge Rabia Collier of Harris County, Texas, gave Watson 90 days to show up for the deposition. The hearing comes as a timely reminder that Watson is still under investigation for alleged misconduct during massage sessions. Yep, despite having served an 11-game NFL suspension for it.
I'm not sure what it's going to be, and that's not even my main focus. My main focus is really just doing my job and executing and just trying to play each and every snap.
The next player has actually had his charges reduced. It was none other than Ben Roethlisberger. In 2 distinct but related situations, 2 different women accused Ben Roethlisberger of assault. But get this, despite the significant claims in both incidents, he wasn't charged. Andrea McNulty made a charge against Ben Roethlisberger in 2009. She alleged that the Steelers quarterback had molested her the summer before in Nevada's Harrah's Lake Tahoe. Roethlisberger allegedly assaulted McNulty, a senior shift manager in charge of VIP relations, while he was staying at the casino resort. Then in Georgia, police looked into Roethlisberger when a college woman reported that he'd assaulted her in a club toilet. You know what's sad? When Roethlisberger announced his retirement, he was universally hailed as a hero, but many people can never get over these accusations. Roethlisberger was only punished for breaching the league's personal conduct rules, despite being absolved of all accusations. At the end of the 2010 NFL season, a 6-game initial suspension was decided for him. In the end, it was reduced to only 4 games after an official appeal. Convenient, right?
Having early success in Pittsburgh, makes it even harder because you get put on this pedestal and you start thinking that you're much bigger than you are.
The next player actually got arrested for alleged assault. I'm referring to Julian Edelman. In 2011, he was detained after being charged with assault. Edelman was accused of grabbing a woman in a nightclub and was charged with indecent assault and battery. He entered a not guilty plea, and the matter was dropped by the prosecutors once they realized they couldn't prove their case in court. That's right, he was supposed to appear in court where he might have been charged criminally. But guess what? Even before his appearance, the charges were dropped. Are you sensing a pattern here? Anyway, it was determined following a thorough police investigation that there was insufficient proof to proceed lawfully with the claims. The altercation appears to have been captured on video, which allowed Edelman to avoid charges. The video in question showed a very brief encounter between the two, making it inconclusive. You know what that means? He wasn't subject to any NFL ban.
We got a Peter, which means let's get to the ball and snap it so they can't review it. Yeah. And I was like, hey, I don't know if I didn't get it. You don't know what a catch is nowadays.
This next player also had his charges reduced. Remember Ahmad Brooks? If Brooks had been found guilty of battery for touching an unconscious woman, he would have had to register as a offender for the rest of his life. But as part of the plea agreement, the linebacker simply had to do 100 hours of community service and make a financial payment to the victim. Again, convenient, right? And by the way, this guy is a repeat offender. In the South Bay, Brooks has attracted the notice of law enforcement twice. When Brooks was a member of the Cincinnati Bengals in 2008, he was charged with hitting a lady in the face. Even back then, the case was hushed, citing mediation. Then in 2013, Brooks hit former teammate LeVar Divins 3 times in the head with a Heineken bottle. This was reported to the police by the former teammate and 2 eyewitnesses. Bizarrely, charges weren't pressed on a claim of self-defense.
It's a little bit amped up compared to last year. Guys are excited about this year, and we're just working hard to be as good as we can be.
That's all on NFL players with the biggest scandals. I'll see you next time.